come from a society where those with the power, we're talking men here, reserve the right to distribute the eggs, the chicken, the liver, and all the big things. Whether the children are relegated to the soup and all. That's where we come from. But in these service awards, what do you think must be included for them to go down well?
You see, first of all, I think
Somebody is telling me here to tell Professor to use small words.
I don't want this morality of silencing people. In the name of...
There have been big words flying around here. Some Latin, some English.
Into gentleness, and the gentleness is killing us. I am not going to be gentle when things are going wrong. I will not.
Let's have the London talk about the sort of principles that should be followed.
Absolutely, and that's a wonderful question, my brother. Where you're coming from, Samson Kasomba, it's excellent when you ask that way. But you see, I would like to argue also away from the normative jurisprudence that the professor was arguing, and bring in also another argument in terms of the natural school jurisprudence in terms of comprehending the things that have to do with day-to-day affairs. If you argue, St. Augustine, who is one of the proponents of natural school of law, argued and said if a law is unfair, if the people have a right to rise against it and rebel against it. So these are questions that we throw at the end into the hands of the honorable members that were here and even others that represent us. You see, it's not a question of whether or not you have sat down and made the law that, serves your purpose, but does it serve to the betterment of the general majority of the people that you tend to serve? And then scribbling in words like service awards without any definitive legal ambit that brings it into occurrence. Even jurisprudence has failed to define it, by the way. Even the cases that I cited talk about it in courts. Even Parliament had a fight over it to call it a service award or handshake. So these are, in my opinion, these are things that Parliament knows very well because they enjoy what they call parliamentary supremacy. And that is the biggest problem that we're having. But also the bigger problem is the fusion of the two arms of government. The executive fused together with what? The legislature. And that's the biggest problem.
So are you suggesting that we do away with parliamentary supremacy?
We actually exercise parliamentary supremacy in its trueness and create independent bodies, but also if you're electing, for example, honorable members of parliament to be ministers, then you're actually fusing them. Are they going to do away from the things that would actually side with parliament? Who's going to be superior over the other? They will have to play those games. And then smuggling, there's even a bigger word that is smuggled in. You know of a word called person to holder? Do you know the implication of that word? Which was smuggled in the leaked links, the leaked minutes of the parliamentary commission, that had to do with the fact that when you argue person to holder, you're actually saying this means that it should not extend to any former or any subsequent leader thereof. We have agreed only me and me and me, and that was it. And that's how they walked out with 1.7 billion. So if another person comes in like me, I become a member of parliament, I can say now let me decide for 10 billion. As long as parliament said we agree.
Also person to holder.
Can you imagine? And these are the things we're talking about. So they go at the gist of the question.
Conflict of interest.
In my opinion, this is day-night thievery that at the time when the sun is at its highest peak, in my opinion.
And the interesting thing is another law professor will also say in his opinion have a varied view, which is the beauty of having several opinions.